For us, of course, this visit and more importantly, India be co-chairing this AI Action Summit in Paris is a very important milestone for India and for France. Three main themes, and I think out of that, of course, global governance on AI is a very important topic. India has a say on this global, let's say, scene today. I would say today we are in a situation where France has laid a red carpet to the Indian investors. Mm-hmm. So we should benefit from that.
Yeah, India is a co-chair of this AI Action Summit. Your expectations on the overall visit, and how do you look at India's role in the emerging technology of artificial intelligence?
Okay. Maybe just a few words from my side. Coumar Ananda, President at the Chamber of Commerce, the Bilateral France-India, the Franco-Indian Bilateral Chamber here in France. For us, of course, this visit and more importantly, India be co-chairing this AI Action Summit in Paris is a very important milestone for India and for France, both from let's say from what it can serve on the technology perspective and also from a political and geopolitical agenda. So AI technology, of course, today it's much more than simple technology that we used to have. It's much more now today a geopolitical topic. And India and France leading this initiative of having this global summit in Paris. It has three main themes, and I think out of that, of course, global governance on AI is a very important topic. The other one is AI for public interest and common good. This is very important. And the third element is also around culture and creative industry. How will it impact on that one? Workforce, HR, this is the fourth element. And then, of course, AI has a very positive elements, and there are certain unknown elements also that that's today in debate. So the fifth element, I would say, is around security, around cyber, and then all the threats that is being today foreseen. These 5 themes will be actually addressed during this summit, and India has a say on this global let's say scene today. And I think some of the expectation from our side, let's say from the chamber, is that we hope that we'll have a more, let's say, cooperation, collaboration between the two countries. Although historically the trade between the two countries been below, let's say, in the 20 billion, in the range of, let's say, 15 to 18 billion, which always been in that range, and always seen on the defense, on the aircraft, on the air force, and that kind of, let's say, more industries in defense, aeronautics were involved. I think there is much more larger potential. There is a certain imbalance today that we see, I would say, in terms of Indian companies present in France. We have less than 100 companies present in France, and there's much more potential. Whereas today, historically, French companies has been quite present in India. More than 1,000 companies are present in India, some of them for the last 100 years and more than that as well. So there's a lot of opportunity that Indian companies should look at France. And I would say today we are in a situation where France has laid a red carpet to the Indian investors. So we should benefit from that momentum. And then it's not only restricted to certain industries, but it's across France and across regions as well. So France is not to be seen only Paris and its region, but much more on the larger scale. I think the consulate that is going to be inaugurated in Marseille, it sends a message that, of course, Paris is not the center of the business, and the regions are emerging as powerful centers as well, and the regions are also having serious stocks, some of the regions in India. And many regions in France have bilateral, at the region level, some tie-ups in India. Taking for this region has a tie-up with the Bangalore region. We have some regions from Region Val d'Olois having a tie-up with Tamil Nadu. So that's also one trend that we see, and we should encourage the regional cooperation between France and India. And Marseille, of course, it has other implications as well. So historically, Marseille and southern part of India has been trading million years back, of course, 2,000, 3,000 years back. We had trade routes between Marseille. You still find some of the goods from the region from Marseille in southern part of India. So we are just rebuilding, let's say, that trade route. And that is, of course, in the context of a larger context on IMEC, the corridor between that starts in Mumbai, the land in Marseille. And there are other topics now around nuclear, around these technologies, around nuclear technologies, and around the submarine, the maritime topics as well. So it's much more broader topic now that will be addressed in Marseille. So for us, from the Chamber, so this is probably the India moment in France, okay? And there's a openness from France side, and the other side also from India as well. There's a real interest in collaborating more with France, and I see more and more Indian companies, Indian investors coming to France. There is, of course, some elements of let's say trust that has been built thanks to the relationship that the true government and the true the French president and the Prime Minister of India had built over the last decades, I would say. But now I think it's the investors, the entrepreneurs, and not only the large cap, but also startups, the young talents. These are the two programs at the Chamber we are driving, because for us, future is with the new generation. So the more we have collaboration between the startups in India and France, the more we have collaboration with the young talents, the better is for the future.
Mr. Coumar, you talked about the avenues of Indian companies in France, because you did mention that thousands of the French companies are there in India. Yeah. What are the areas where the Indian companies can chip in and also boost the trade? According to you, you do see the potential in those areas.
Yeah. So historically, of course, the tech companies were present in France for the last 30 years. And then we saw this second wave that was primarily around pharma companies and certain companies around infrastructure. So we now, I think there's much more to do to that. We'll have much more collaboration on food industries and agro, on creative industries, on textile, on design. We see also now more and more collaboration, more and more appetite from Indian investors on the creative industries in France. France has undoubtedly a know-how in that. And that is something that of interest for Indian companies, collaborating with the French companies, and also establishing some of these, creating jobs here. I think because the talent pool in France undoubtedly is very large. There's a depth, there's a know-how, and Indian companies, for me, should see France for two reasons. One, for building long-lasting and as a base for the other European markets, by tapping into the talent pool, the know-how of the regions, and the know-how of the region also for serving the larger Europe, the other part of the world as well. So this could be, for me, just not a place where actually you come and serve, but also a place where you actually can grow, build a platform. If you look at the larger perspective, and France is welcoming those investors. That is something that we should send as a message to Indian investors. France today is welcoming Indian investors. Everything, the whole ecosystem is favorable. The ease of doing business in France has never been as it today. So there's nothing that should prevent Indian investor to come settle here to build businesses.
Any trade targets in mind you have, because you have asked the Indian investors to come in France, and France has invested heavily. Although you did mention the numbers, any numbers you have in mind which both the countries can reach as a potential?
So I think I wouldn't commit in any numbers, but from where we are starting, I think compared to the other bilateral trade that is happening with India and other larger countries in Europe itself, I think the potential can be threefold, fourfold. So it can be 10x. It can be 10x. So it all depends. Probably there's the lack of understanding on both sides. I would say Indian investors still see France as a kind of mysterious in terms of challenges. We've been historically thinking it's a language barrier. It's no more a language barrier. In France, people can deal across the globe. It shouldn't be specific to challenges for India. But of course, the rules and then the culture, the business culture, it's now much more open than what it used to be 50, 30 years back. So for me, it's just a mental barrier that need to be uncapped.
Right. This brings me to the last question. Of course, because of the bonhomie between the two leaders, which we have seen, Mercer Consulate is going to be open. What kind of opportunity or venue it opens for people-to-people connect and also for the business industries? What are the expectations in that regard? So soon we are going to have an opening and inauguration.
Yeah, I think the people-to-people connect is very important, and historically France always open through political routes. Let's say the roadmap for its own companies. And I think building that trust between the two leaders, it means that you're building a platform for your companies, your citizens to operate in a safe, in a trusted manner. So that message has been reinforced in France and also in India. I think there's a confidence from Indian Indians, be it students, entrepreneurs, startups. There is much more place to play now in France than it used to be. So France always been seen a little bit closed. Today that is not the case, and the government relationship and the government, let's say, trust is very good, and it has created a platform, trust, confidence, and both citizens and entrepreneurs should tap in.
Because then how much is the contribution of the relationship between the two leaders? Because there is a long-lasting relationship between Prime Minister Modi and President Macron. How much that has helped in fostering the relationship between the two?
So it has to help now, I would say, because the fact that the two leaders have a common view, common value, common perception how the geopolitical agenda should be driven. That has actually helped the, let's say, the different ministries, different industries to be confident and then join that roadmap. For me, the bilateral dialogue, we just not see it at the leaders level. It has also transcended at the levels, the ministry levels, at the large cap level, at the startup level. So I would say probably in the last few years, I'm sure that at least one delegation of one French minister in India every month. So it's not just defense, across, be it in culture, in agri, in labor. So there's one ministry that is in India every month. So it's mean that the narrative is not just at the leaders level, it's also at the team level, and then it is cascaded at all level of the government and the country. For me, that is how it is being actioned and how it is being executed, and that's where we see now. I think the framework is here. Now, the entrepreneurs, the investors, the students, everybody has to get into that and make it happen. For me, that's what we hope for the future. Thank you.